Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
This is Rebecca.
Hello, Rebecca. This is Charlie from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. How are you?
Hi, Charlie. I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Oh, I am living the dream. Absolutely living the dream. I am calling because I wanted to catch up with you for Armed Lifestyle magazine. We want to feature you in the Riding Shotgun with Charlie column. And I want to check up and see what you've been up to in the last year. You've run for office. You've got a lot of DC project stuff going on. And I want to catch up with all of that.
Well, I am happy to catch up with you. It's been busy and insane, and running for office is one thing, but actually serving is completely different.
Oh, I can't even fathom. I went to a thing recently, and some politicians were talking about basically the games that they play. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, one, why do we play these games? And two, when did they learn to play these games? Did they learn this in office? Did they know this before they got in office? So I imagine there's got to be some sort of a learning curve.
Oh, there's absolutely a learning curve. I think the first 2 weeks that I was actually up in the State House here in Kansas and we were learning, everybody kept saying, well, it's like drinking from a fire hose. And I kept saying, no, it's the fire hose is on. I haven't learned to drink yet.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is what it was like. And coming from a background where you've been around it and you know the language and you have seen the structure and you actually do follow some of the games that they play in order to get bills through. Mm-hmm. Even when you have that background, there is so much to learn and so many different moving parts. And there are so many people that go up that's really, they have one thing that they really want to get done. And they're so focused on that they're not really paying attention to the other things that the public can see, all the bills and the process, but they're also not paying attention to who needs to talk to who in order to get things moving, in order to make things go. And so it's even coming in with that mindset, mm-hmm. It was still so many moving parts. We have 125 representatives, which I'm one of, and then we have 40 senators. And then on top of that, we have all of the staff that is in there every day that gets things done. Plus, you have to think about your different leadership, your majority leadership and your minority leadership. And then you add in the lobbyist, and it's a lot of moving parts, and it's a wonder that we get anything done.
That does sound like a lot. Now let's get this straight. You were running for what? Queen of Nebraska, Kansas, or whatever, right?
Yeah, as my children said, because I mean the signs in our yard were not enough. All the little pamphlets that I had to have and out and things, that was not enough to let them know that it was a House rep position. But they were so uninterested in what Mom was doing, and we're talking teenage boys, so they were so uninterested that I was obviously running for Queen of Kansas or whatever.
Or whatever. I love the or whatever because it's just the extra dig. We're not paying attention to you or anything.
Well, teenagers, so yeah, they have paid a little bit more attention.
Yeah.
since I took office, but that's because I've drugged them to a few different things. They got to see how the public treats their mom a couple different times, so they're a little bit more engaged now.
Wow, that's good news.
Yes, and we actually had one day that the morning started here in my hometown, and we went to an event where basically the people that show up for that, my constituents that show up for that, are not happy with me. The ones that are happy with you, they set it and forget it. They voted for you. They expect you to do what you said that you were going to do, and they let you do it. The people that aren't happy with what you're doing, they kind of turn out in full force. And here in Kansas, we did a lot of stuff that would be considered controversial this year. We did a lot of things that the governor vetoed, and then we overrode the veto. And so I had to answer a lot of questions and give a lot of statements and things. And some people were really not happy with me. So my boys got to see that, and people not be so nice to me while I'm sitting up there not getting paid to answer their questions. And then turned around, and just a few hours later, we were at another event that was more friendly, and people were engaged, and it was fantastic. And they were coming up to me afterwards, thanking me for being there and for what I was doing. So they got to see that aspect of it too. And it really put things, I think, in perspective for teenage boys to be able to see what it's like in that life, because they don't pay any attention at all. So
Sure.
it was a good lesson for them.
Right. I mean, they've got to be sitting there saying, my mom doesn't have a tail. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think that they were more so impressed with the fact that I didn't treat the people, my constituents who were disagreeing with me, I didn't treat them like I've treated my boys when they didn't mind, So I think they saw a different side of mom, and they're like, wait, mom has a filter, and mom also can keep control of her emotions.
Wow. That's really cool. I mean, I think that's going to help them in the long run, for sure.
Oh, I think so. And none of them are actively politically minded, but all of them, they know right from wrong. They know what they believe, and they can articulate why they believe it. And so it's good for them to be around this side of it.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So yeah, back to the learning curve. When do you? All right, so it's the hose is on, or
Yes.
the spigot is off. The water. What the hell do you call that thing? The hydrant. There we are. The fire hydrant. The top is the front is off the fire hydrant, and you are drowning. What kind of things do you have to learn? Like, how much is there to play catch up with? It's not. Okay. I guess it's not even catch up. It's. This is how things are done, and this is how we do things, and here's the procedures. Here's the, the Robert's rules and all this sort of stuff.
Oh, yes. And you have to make sure that you're following rules. In fact, let's see, the first 2 days we had orientation. All of us that are considered freshmen or first year went up for orientation. And we had 2 solid days of just rules and basically the overview of these are the different departments that you will be needing help from, whether it is legislative assistant stuff, whether it is the revisers, the lawyers that put the bills and the wording together in such a way that, we're not breaking any existing laws. The researchers and how you access that department so that they can pull information, whether you're looking at a budget to see, all right, well, we gave you X amount of dollars before, but over the last 10 years, what have you done with it? So they can actually go in and itemize that so that you can see if what you're doing is effective. Because let's be honest, nobody ever comes in and says, I think that you're giving us too much money. You should probably cut that. Everybody comes in and wants more money for whatever their project is. And it's their project, so they know. And so they come to myself and my colleagues and they say, all right, because of this and this, we want more money. So we can go to the researchers and say, well, how have they been using what we've given them so far? And that's made a huge difference. We are actually going to be the entire freshman bunch that I'm with in the Republican side of the House. We all get together fairly often and have conversations. There are several of us. I want to say that there's 30 of us. And we had one that decided that he didn't like being a Republican so much. And so he sided with the other side on every bill, and it was kind of rough, but so the rest of us are all we gelled really well, and we want to focus in on the people's money. One of the things that I did learn very quickly in that orientation is how people talked about taxes, how they talked about the people's money. Because as far as a taxpayer, my whole life, that's my money, and I expect to know what you're doing with it, and I expect to agree with what you're doing with it, to a reasonable extent. And I want you to prove that what you're doing is fiscally responsible. When you get up there and they start talking about things like, revenue and surplus that we're not giving back and things like that, I was beside myself. I was looking around the room waiting for other people to be just as enraged as I was, and apparently I was a bit of an anomaly because I understand that's someone's paycheck. We are up there, we're talking about spending someone's hard-earned money on things that, one, do we really need them? Two, is it effective when we are doing it? And three, could it be done better by, someone in the private sector, which most 100% of the time is yes.
Right.
But so just learning the language and learning how people have these conversations and how cavalier they are with the idea of spending other people's money, because to them, by the time it gets in front of you in the State House, it's just numbers on a page. It's not that Mr. Smith missed little Johnny's baseball game because he had to be at work so that he could pay into this, and so it's really impersonal. And that one was probably, that was the hardest curve that I was thrown in my orientation. I could kind of ride out everything else, but we will be taking a hard look at taxes. We tried to do that this year, and it got hung up in political games, and the Kansas taxpayers didn't get their money back that they should have. And so that's on all of us. That's on the legislature. That was our responsibility to get it done. And even though it was just a few people that gummed up the works there, it really does fall on all of us. And I take that incredibly seriously. And I know that there are several other legislators that also take that seriously. So that's another thing that you learn when you're up there, is you don't have to agree on every issue. But, man, when you find something that you can build a bridge with somebody on, you protect that bridge.
It's real. You said something that sticks with me, and it's other people's money. A few years ago, I helped a friend of mine run for office, and he ended up in a debate with the woman that was the current state senator, and she ended up winning the two times that he ran for office. She ended up beating him both times. But I remember one of the debates that they had, she said to him, she's like, $1 million really is not a lot of money. And he was like, right? Oh my God, $1 million is $1 million. And she's like, it's really not a lot of money. And he was like dumbfounded that this Democrat state senator said $1 million was not a lot of money.
I'm telling you, when you are up there and it's just numbers on a page, and I come from banking background, right? So it's in banking, you learn pretty quickly that it's all Willy Wonka, Mike TV, floating around in the air. It's all Willy Wonka numbers and it's monopoly money. I mean, you kind of get this idea that it's just numbers in a program. Mm-hmm. And so when I go up to the State House and I hear other people have that same mentality with the taxpayers' money, then that's where I draw the line. It's not monopoly money. It's not just numbers on a page or numbers in a program. Like I said, it's somebody is going to work, struggling, and they can't afford their prescription medication because they have to pay X amount in taxes. And then what are we doing with that? This person is sacrificing something that they need so that we can, add to the $1 billion budget? That one, it really does hit me hard.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, people get up early and work late so they can, and like you said, they miss their kids' events. So they can keep their business open and pay their taxes and work more and, try to support their families. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little shocking to the system for sure. You were telling me that you had a good gun bill that went through.
I had so much fun. Oh my goodness. So coming into it, everybody kind of labels, well, this is your thing and this is your wheelhouse and whatever. And so I'm the gun girl because I've been in Second Amendment world for over a decade. And so I come into it with that. And the Attorney General actually, when he was running for office at the same time that I was running for office, he had brought up the fact that he wanted to get rid of concealed carry permit holders having to pay the state to get their concealed carry permit. Now, we're a constitutional carry state. We don't actually need to have a permit. There's just still several reasons why one would want to get one.
Sure, it's having reciprocity and that sort of stuff with other states. Do you guys have? I know of 2 states that have an enhanced permit. Is your carry permit an enhanced permit where you can carry at these places without a permit, but you can carry at more places with a permit?
Ours is similar to that. If there are some places like school zones that if you have the permission of the school board and the superintendent, then you can carry with a permit in a school zone. So effectively here in Kansas, you could arm teachers if your school district decides that they want to do that. So we have situations like that. Pretty much before we did our constitutional carry, we did our due diligence, and we made sure that the state was the end all as far as what is allowed and where, because it used to be broken up into cities and counties could make their own determination. And so we actually just made it a blanket wide. If it's state law, then you have to abide by it. And for right now, I mean, pendulums and swinging, but for right now, we are incredibly free whenever it comes with firearms here in the state of Kansas. And just looking around at other states, I'm very happy to live where I live, and I'm very happy to help my friends in other states anywhere I can. But so back to the permit or to the fees. So prior to July 1st, we actually, if you applied for a concealed carry permit, the first round, when you applied for it, you had to pay your sheriff the $35, I believe, in order to get your fingerprints and take your picture.
Yeah.
It's local office, whatever, you pay your sheriff that. And then you had to write a check to the Attorney General's office for $100, and that was supposed to cover the actual permit cost. And so when Kobach was running for Attorney General here in Kansas, he had made the comment several times while he was out campaigning that he didn't agree that you should have to pay the state in order to exercise rights. And obviously, I'm in big agreement on that. And so he and I had previously had conversations about it. But when it came down to it and it was time to run a bill for this session, I'm just new kid on the block. And I'm sitting in my office, and I basically was summoned and told that, hey, they have this bill already written, and we're going to run it on the House side and we're going to run it on the Senate side, and we want you to run it on the House side. And I've literally never carried a bill before. And so I've watched it several times, and I've been passionate about it, and I've gone up and testified in front of committees and things like that. But we're talking the new kid gets to carry a bill that will remove the state fee for concealed carry. And I was like, well, I mean, hopefully I don't screw this up. I'm pretty confident that I know how to have this conversation. Let's do this. And so then, you know, you have to go and talk to leadership to get it into a committee, and then you have to talk to the committee chair, and then you have to talk to the people in the committee or on the committee that, you know, you think are going to be friendly. And I had a few people on the committee who were really, really unfriendly. One happens to be a red shirt wearing Moms Demand. Before she was elected, she was already working with Moms Demand. So, you know, I mean, I'm quite the counterpart to her there.
We need to rock 'em, sock 'em.
Yes.
With the red shirts.
Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun, actually. But we kind of did end up having that on the House floor. So we got it through committee on the House side, and then we got it through committee on the Senate side. And, of course, I'm having to walk across the rotunda and talk to the Senate, you know, the people in that committee who I think are going to be for it, and having conversations about this is what it looks like and this is how we're going to be able to afford it. And basically, the AG came in to testify, and he flat out said, listen, this is a fee that is paid directly to my office. And so my office is going to shuffle things around to where I'm not having to ask the legislature to cover this, the fees going away. So basically, they were able to move their own money around in that office so that they didn't have to come back and ask us for any more. And so it seemed like it should be super easy, get it done. It's just a fee it's just a bill to remove the fee. However, when it came to the House floor, the side that, you know, does not appreciate rights, the side that wants to make sure that they have a say in how you store your guns or where you can carry your guns or who can carry guns, they brought 4 amendments to my bill. And mind you, at this point, I've been up to the well a couple times. I had carried some other smaller bills that were not specifically my bill that I had to babysit all the way through. But so I had a little bit of experience, but we spent an hour and a half debating getting rid of a $100 fee to the AG's office. And they tried to bring safe storage amendment. They tried to bring campus carry amendment. They tried to make it to where our 18 to 20-year-olds could no longer apply for a permit. And then they tried to basically repeal constitutional carry entirely. And all 4 times, what happened was, of course, you know, I present, this is what the bill is. Then somebody wants to speak to the bill. And so then somebody comes up and immediately says, I have an amendment. And at that time, they have to be allowed to tell you what the amendment is. And so during that time, I'm standing off to the side with some people from the committee that it went through, and the chairman was outstanding. And we were having a conversation, and he goes, well, what do you think? And I was like, well, I think that I got this. And so he was like, all right, well, go do your thing. So I walked up and I said, well, does this have anything to do with fees? And she said, no. And I said, then I'll challenge germaneness. And then our rules committee went back and decided to deliberate for a good long time, and came out and finally ruled that no, it actually didn't have anything to do with fees, and this is a bill about fees, so it's not germane to the bill. And of course, you know, there was some rumblings on the left, and then the next person came up. Same type of thing, different amendment. They went through their spiel. I walked up, did the exact same thing. Does this have anything to do with fees? We did this 4 times. 4 times for an hour and a half. I stood up there just saying, well, what does this have to do with anything? Oh, nothing? Then you can be seated. And so after that, I got to come back and do my closing argument. I think I had 1 or 2 people come up and speak to the bill itself and say why they didn't like it or whatever. But during my closing argument, I was actually able to use all of the decade of experience that I have listening to people say that they want safety, that they want people to have access to training, that they want these things. And then they make us look like monsters, yet they don't actually want it. Because whenever I was starting to explain to them that, listen, if we get rid of this hindrance, this fee that not everybody can afford, then you're going to open this up to more people seeking the training so that they can apply for the permit. You're going to open this up to more people being engaged with being a responsible gun owner. And you're going to have more people being able to protect themselves and others just in regular situations. And there was a lot of pushback. They did not like it whenever I called them out on that. And the fact that someone who started out 10, 11 years ago as an advocate, who's been having this conversation, on the internet and in person and at events and things like that, to be able to have this conversation from the well in the Kansas House, I mean, that was outstanding. That's one of the highlights of my career in gun rights so far. And I got a little bit of a taste for it, and I'm not stopping there. We've got a few more things coming up this next year where we're looking at protecting, well, basically shoring up some of the work. People can't come in and start trying to determine what arms mean or how accessories correlate to arms. We're looking at the fact that we've got these credit card companies that want to track any kind of gun or ammunition or accessory purchases. And so we'll be taking a hard look at that. I've already got revisors kind of looking that over. So we are incredibly free as far as Second Amendment here in Kansas, but there's always more ground to gain. And so it's exciting for me to be able to do these things.
That sounds great. I love that you have a never-ending supply of, does this have to do with a fee? Does this have to do with a fee? Does it?
Oh,
you're
man.
Like, right? You're like the talking heads.
End of it,
like the same as it. Go ahead.
Man, it was, everybody knew what was coming. In fact, my colleagues were, they made a meme. I couldn't tell you where the meme is or who has it, but they made a meme of my picture, and it said Queen of Germaneness. So, and then there was another one that was something about how I had won the Germaneness Award of the year, but bring me better amendments. Bring me amendments I can argue. Come on.
Right. That is awesome. I think I did see that, and I wasn't sure what was going on, but that's great. That is so cool, man. That is so cool.
We need more of those of us who have been in advocacy, those of us who have been in the life, and we're constantly playing defense all the time, and just across the entire nation. We need more of us to run and be in these kinds of positions so that we can stop playing defense all the time. We've got to start actually building plays and running plays, because that's the only thing that's really going to right the ship.
Absolutely. It would be great if there were more pro-gun people that were first of all, where I'm coming from, a lot of the pro-gun folks have been closet gun owners for a long time. And it would be great if more of them came out and spoke publicly and, got behind pro-gun candidates. And obviously, one of the things would be great if they'd stop arguing with each other.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
But, yeah, it would be great if we had more of those. It would be wonderful to have more women like you running for office. That would be awesome.
It would, and hopefully with the work that I've done with the DC Project, with the resources that Mary Callison and I have with 1 Million Moms Against Gun Control and things like that, hopefully some of my success as far as running for office and then winning office and then being able to do things like carrying this concealed carry fee bill, hopefully that's sparking some interest. And we just need to train people up on this is what it looks like to run a campaign, and this is what you need to know going in. And I mean, we're in desperate need of a takeover here because it's not going to get any better if we don't get in there and get involved.
Oh my God, absolutely. It's yeah, we do need more people involved for sure. And honestly, I got to tell you, I was at something recently. I've been writing some articles about the nonsense that's going on here in Massachusetts, and somebody came up to me at a gun store this past week, and they're like, "Hey, what's the next step after this?" I'm like, it was, I don't know, something like, he's like, the bill got shot down and it got stalled, but what's the next step after this? Are they going to change the bill? Are they going to give it a different name? Are they going to give it a different number? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yes, all of the above. They're going to do all of that. They will do whatever it takes to get that through. You guys are going to have to be hyper vigilant with that.
Absolutely. And it's, I gotta say this, the nice thing about this bill, if there is such a nice thing, is it's got a lot of people to contact their politicians, and the politicians have been saying that people have been contacting them that haven't contacted them ever before, or people people spoke up about this that they never thought would speak up about this. So
I've been watching what is going on up there from Kansas, and I am so excited for the community engagement that you guys have generated through your educational process as far as that's concerned. This bill might just be a travesty all the way around. However, it is getting people involved. And so if that's what it was going to take, just make sure that they don't get lazy, because we all do it. We all get distracted because we all have real lives, and then they will slip it in anywhere that they can. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast.
For sure. It is great that people got involved and people are paying attention. Before this bill, it's called HD 4420. Before the bill was proposed, the person that was in charge of this, and I'm calling him he who shall not be named, but he had this thing called the Gun Law Listening Tour, and it was 11 different stops around Massachusetts. I went to 8 of them. I wrote about the 8 that I went to. I think I spoke at 5 or 6 of them, and I am convinced that he had Gabby Giffords came to his office. He had a photo opportunity with him at her office, and then he had, within 3 weeks, he had this whole bill, 140 pages, new definitions for not assault firearm, but an assault style firearm. Ooh, it's in the style of an assault firearm, and that's a Mini 14 and a Kel-Tec Sub 2000. Just guns that are not assault weapons. They added that definition, and they came up with all this stuff that this is a guy that doesn't know anything about guns, came up with all of these new terms, and it completely came from Gabby Giffords and the Red Shirts. So.
Oh, absolutely, because they already had it all compiled and put together. All they had to do was hand it to him.
Yeah, all they did was cross out New Jersey and put in Massachusetts.
Yep.
Which is ridiculous. Anyway, what else would you like to talk about? We can wrap it up any time here. we got a lot of great stuff from you, a lot of great stories, and a lot of great information on your first year in office. Are we going to be seeing you at the Gun Rights Policy Conference this year?
Yes, I am so excited. Given the fact that I still work full-time on my day job at the bank, I'm still 8 to 5 every day whenever we're not in session. And so I get to see those people. I get to see my legislative colleagues fairly often. I was just at a conference recently, I guess at the end of last week, with some of my fellow legislators and then legislators from all over America. But I very rarely get to spend any time with my Second Amendment family. And I refer to them as family because that's what they are. I mean, we all kind of come together, especially at AMCON and Gun Rights Policy Conference. And it really is. That's the family reunion. And so that's the one that I really look forward to every year because we are able to all just get together and be who we are and do what we do. And we're all so very similar and so very different. And that's my favorite every year. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And usually I bring the man with me, but he's got to work. And between my schedule and his schedule, then it's not going to work out this year. So I have been tasked with making sure to take a lot of notes and take a lot of pictures. And so you're going to have to remind me to take a lot of pictures because you know how terrible I am at remembering to do that.
I do. Yeah, we had to scrounge for a picture of us at one point, didn't we?
We did, because we did the riding shotgun, but we forgot to take a picture
for you. A selfie in the car, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you were gone. You left after that.
Yes, I was in campaign mode. I was running for office at that time. So as soon as I was done with that, we were already packed up. Everything was already in the car. And so then we hit the road to get back to Kansas so that I could get out and knock on doors. I was knocking on doors, I think the next morning at I want to say 10 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Yeah. But that's how you win elections, is you get in front of people and you have conversations. That's also how you get anything done, is it all starts with conversations.
This is true. Well, obviously you got it done, and it absolutely shows that you are out there busting your tail for our Second Amendment rights, and obviously for the people of Kansas as well. So it's incredible work that you're doing, and I'm proud to be a friend, and I love watching your success from the side. And keep doing the great stuff that you're doing.
I am not alone, and I take that very seriously. I know that the things that we do here in Kansas, I'm not just doing for my constituents or even for the constituents of Kansas. It does represent something to the rest of the nation, and any state who wants to use our language from that bill, or who wants copies of it and things like that, they can draw from that and figure out what works in their state. We do it with other bills from other states, and it's when we all work together and we're pulling for rights all in the same direction, and we're not doing the backbiting and the inner turmoil stuff that we are so famous for doing. Man, we can get a lot done. And so I'm just one very small piece of that. I like being a representative because it reminds me that I do represent something bigger than me. And so it is my absolute honor and a great privilege to be able to do that.
Well, that is wonderful. All right, how can people find all of you and the Million Moms against gun control and the DC Project, and I'm sure you've got a biz page for being the state rep there.
Okay, so Million Moms Against Gun Control is 1mmagc.org. DC Project, fantastic organization, and that is dcproject.info. And those ladies are rocking it every day. I mean, even up in Massachusetts, I've been watching Carrie Ann, and yeah, so it's just These ladies are really in there. They're boots on the ground. They're getting things done. They are starting the conversations, and I'm hoping that we can get more of them to look at running for office. I keep pushing. I keep trying.
You're obviously leading by example very well.
Yeah, I'm doing what I can, man. But we need more of us, and it really is. It is such a privilege to be able to stand up for rights at that level. As far as my stuff, you just look up my name, Rebecca Schmoe.
You're going to have to spell it here.
Okay, that's true. All right. So Rebecca,
yeah.
And then Schmoe is Schmoe.
Schmoe. All right.
And it's Schmoe because I have boys. They're the Schmoe boys. I tell everybody that. It helps people remember. But honestly, I've been working in gun rights for so long that I've been called worse.
That's awesome. Well, very cool. I'm going to put out all sorts of links to 1 Million Moms Against Gun Control and to DC Project and to you and well, so people can reach out to you and find all your stuff and follow you and all the great stuff that you're doing.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate you telling the stories and being out there so that other people get ideas, because that's what it's all about. That's where you take the idea, you start the conversation, and let's get some stuff done.
Yeah, I love it. I'm just trying to keep up, but thank you. All right, well, listen, I look forward to seeing with you. I thank you so much for your time, and we shall talk again soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thanks a lot.